What's up guys, Artem MMA Analysis here, going to be talking about LFA 128 in this video. This is going to be a full card predictions video, and I'm going to be doing all the predictions for the professional fights. Just letting you guys know, a lot of these guys are very inexperienced, so I don't really have too much to work off, and that means that some of my predictions aren't going to be like as confident as I would like them to be, like such as a lot of these debuting guys, the guys that are 1-0-1. It's really hard to find information on that. I'm recording the intro mid research because I've kind of realized that it's not actually as easy to research these guys as I initially thought, but I will be trying my best, and hopefully you guys still enjoy the video anyway. If you really want to bet LFA, I think LFA 129 is a much better card to bet because you got a lot more experienced fighters, a lot more well-known fighters, but this is a great card overall in my opinion. I think the last three fights are pretty interesting, and the Bryce Meredith fight as well. Look out for Bryce Meredith. He's got an absolutely insane wrestling background as well, so I just thought I'd get that out there just before we get into the video. Alright, let's get into the first pro fight of the evening, and we're going to be having a debut for Abubakar Adamu, facing also another debut in Andrew Triolo. Abubakar Adamu has some amateur experience, but as you guys will see, he's got an insane amount of Taekwondo experience outside of MMA. In fact, this guy is actually a black belt in Taekwondo and the 2014 Commonwealth Games gold medalist, or Commonwealth gold medalist. He's also fought multiple times in Taekwondo. I think or whatever this is, he's gone 7-5 and in some international tournament, I guess. But I've also read that he was ranked 380th in the world 7 months ago, but then he climbed at the time, then he climbed to 62nd in the world for Taekwondo. He made his international debut in 2013 at the World Youth Taekwondo Championships and the World Youth Championships in Taipei. In 2014, he went to South Korea for some training, and then he won gold in the 2014 Commonwealth Games. So this guy's very good at Taekwondo, obviously. He's also got some amateur MMA experience. Andrew Triolo, on the other hand, I googled this guy. I did. I can't find anything about Andrew Triolo. Like, I genuinely have no idea who this guy is. No disrespect to him, but there's just nothing really on him on Google. But you've got Adamu. It's actually a lot easier to find him if you search Isa Adamu or Adamu Isa, not Abubakar Adamu. We get something completely different. And the odds for this fight as well are absolutely insane. Like, this is what really got me into researching the fight. Like, why is this guy making his professional debut the biggest favorite on the entire card? He's minus 650, and this is why, guys. He's a Commonwealth Games gold medalist in Taekwondo, so he's obviously going to have an absolutely insane striking background. So I'm going to be trusting in Abubakar Adamu. I'm going to be picking him to win as the massive favorite, but minus 650 on a debuting guy, you're insane to make that kind of money play. And also, this guy missed weight in his last fight, which was 2 years ago, to be fair. Since then, he probably has made a few changes and he will make the weight, but he did miss weight, in his last fight against a 5-1 guy on the amateur scene. That's a pretty good win to have, man. But I'm picking Adamu. I mean, Taekwondo black belt. I think we're probably going to see a decision or a KO. I don't really think we're going to see a submission from this guy. Absolutely no idea who Triolo is, so not going to pretend like I do. I'm just going to be picking Adamu to win this fight here. What's up, guys? We move into the next one. We've got Sarek Shields versus Thad Jean. Both guys are 2-0 in their professional fights, and just straight up really don't recommend putting any money on this one because it's pretty hard to kind of make a pick, especially when the odds are very close. We've got Thad Jean sitting minus 155 to Sarek Shields, a plus 125 underdog there. But even then, like, you're betting on 2-0 guys with close odds. Don't recommend it, but I will give you guys a breakdown of what these guys are about, what these guys do. So Sarek Shields, he's got a pretty decent background in the amateur MMA scene. Josh Quinlan, I think, is actually signed to the UFC. That's not a bad loss to have on your amateur record, and prior to that he was actually beating some pretty decent guys on the amateur scene, or guys with good records in the amateur scene, I guess. Now he's moved up. He's beaten a pretty decent level of competition, 4-2 as a 1-0 fighter, so that's pretty respectable in my opinion as well. He also recently received his looks like his purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He received it about 13 weeks ago, and I will point it out, he's actually got a pretty cool look going for him. It's like a Viking style Valhalla look, so shout out to Sarek Shields for that one. I think that's actually pretty cool. And it looks like he's fighting out of American Top Team as well. On the other hand, his opponent there, Jean, once again also had a pretty good amateur record. He went 5-2. He fought once again decent records on the amateur scene, 5-2, 3-2, 3-0, 2-0, 3-0. like decent amateur record guys, I guess you would say. I mean, like, it is amateur MMA. It's a good way to practice before getting into the pro scene, obviously. And like, he seems to have like a kickboxing background, but this guy also recently received, or it looks like he already has, like a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, you look at this guy here, Thad Jean, he's wearing, I believe this is him here, Thad Jean, he's wearing that purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu there. So it's going to be interesting as well. But he definitely seems like he's got a kickboxing background. I looked at his Facebook. It looked like he had Facebook kickboxing fights back in like 2017 or so. And also, it seems like he's posted on his Instagram. He said, you know what's going on with a bunch of like gorillas there. Silverback going back in the catch with this guy who is going to want to hug and cuddle the whole time. Whatever it's time to show what's really going on in training. So, like, that's the thing. That Gene, I think he does have a kickboxing background, but he's fighting a guy that seems to also be quite well rounded. That Gene seems to have some kickboxing and some jiu-jitsu, so once again, I just can't really tell you who's going to win for sure. It's not really the easiest thing to kind of find information on these guys. Luckily, though, Thad Jean has been fighting on CES and Cage Fury FC, so you can actually watch these fights. They're not too hard to find, really. And he finished them both in the first round, so you can kind of respect that. He's obviously got finishing power. 2 first-round finishes, actually very respectable in my opinion. Same sort of thing with Sarek Shields. Like, he's been fighting good competition as well. With one finish, I guess it's like a TKO retirement there. So let's see, man. Let's see what happens. Like, Sarek Shields, once again, all wins in his amateur record by finish. Thad Jean on the same sort of situation where he won a couple of fights by submission, and then he also won a couple of fights by KO, and he won one decision. So now he's on a like a finishing streak. But as I said, guys, this isn't a fight to be putting money on. Thad Jean also missed weight in his last fight, so I guess potentially some weight cutting issues there. Both guys active, both guys are young. I'm gonna pick Thad Jean, but I'm not going to say like there's a lot of confidence in this one here. It's definitely a good fight to watch. And it's going to be something exciting to see. 2 guys that are 2-0. One guy's going to go to 3-0 and obviously continue the undefeated streak. So a fight to look forward to, but once again, like a fight that I don't have a lot of confidence in. I'll pick Thad Jean. You know, I'll go with the bookies and I'll go with the Tapology votes, but I'm not going to pretend like I've got a lot of confidence in this one here. Alright, and the next one we've got like a kind of a weird fight, man. We've got McKee fighting Jalen Jackson. I think when the odds open for this fight, McKee is going to be a huge favourite. And there's a couple of reasons behind that. There is no odds for this fight right now. But Jalen Jackson, I think his career is a little bit suspicious, I guess, like in some sort of way. Like, I mean, he lost 24 seconds into the first round in his amateur debut, and then he lost 22 seconds into the first round in his next amateur fight, and then he lost 16 seconds into the first round of his first pro fight. So I'm a little bit confused, like, what old mate Jalen Jackson is up to. But McKee is fighting at a Sanford MMA, and this guy's got a great wrestling background. You can kind of look at his Instagram here. He seems to be very legit. He seems to be taking it very seriously. So McKee is definitely my pick to win the fight. He's only 24 years old. It seems like he's going to be using his wrestling background to try and transition into MMA successfully. And training out of Sanford MMA, I think, is probably a pretty good move into getting into that. So this is definitely the right Instagram page. He looks like he's training with Michael Chandler as well, which is a good kind of a thing to see. He's definitely training with high level guys. But once again, like, the thing is, and if you look at his, I don't know anything about wrestling, guys. I'm from New Zealand. Wrestling is not a thing here whatsoever, really. Like, kickboxing and like boxing are kind of cool, but you don't really hear about anyone wrestling over here in New Zealand, apart from the boys at City Kickboxing and other MMA gyms, which I'm not actually too familiar with, I'm going to be honest. But anyway, so 4-time NCAA qualifier. He's an All-American, 6th All-American in 2019, if that means anything. NCAA All-American, like, once again, I'm assuming that kind of like means like things. 91 wins in his career as well. Like, this is all coming from his Go for Sports team, I'm assuming. And yeah, so McKee, an All-American wrestler, fighting a guy that has lost 3 times within a minute. I just don't understand how Mitchell McKee's gonna lose this one. It almost seems like he's gonna win the fight in the first round. Like, he beat Frank Poshko by KO TKO. I didn't even watch the fight. I'm gonna be honest. I did no tape study for this one because as soon as I saw Jalen Jackson's record and I saw this, I kind of just thought, like, I've seen enough. I couldn't even find this guy on Instagram or anything, and I usually looked pretty deep. I found someone who I think might be him. But there's nothing about fighting on it, so I'm just not actually too sure. But yeah, like kind of like Mitch McKee, KO TKO early into the second round. I think we could just see kind of the same sort of thing, but in the first round. I'm gonna go Mitch McKee inside the first round here. I'm pretty confident, to be honest. I think he's going to be a massive favourite as well. But once again, do not bet this fight. It's 1-0 versus an 0-1 guy. Unless Mitch McKee, like, for some reason, it's like a very close favourite, then I could understand. But I think he's going to open as a big favourite. I think that the bookies are kind of going to see what I've seen. He's fighting out of Sanford MMA. Jalen Jackson seems to be fighting out of an MMA gym, not on Tapology. So, yeah, man, I'm going to be trusting Mitchell McKee to get this job done. I think that Jalen Jackson's kind of just been used to buff up Mitchell McKee's record a little bit. So, yeah, that's my prediction. Alright, if we move into the next one, we've got Bryce Meredith versus Viola. This is actually a very late notice fight. This fight was literally added today to the Tapology page anyway. I don't know how long ago these guys agreed to the fight, but Viola only posted about it about 12 hours ago as the time of recording. So this fight is pretty late notice, I think. I'm assuming it is. Bryce Meredith is a great prospect to look out for. He's got insane wrestling. He's got an insane wrestling background, which I'll look in in a minute. And he's also training out of the MMA lab as well, which is Colby Covington's gym, obviously. Viola, though, doesn't really seem like a guy that takes easy fights. His last loss was to Fernie Garcia, who I think is now in the UFC. And Mitch Raposo as well, who was on the Ultimate Fighter, and he just recently lost to Mitch Raposo. So that's very interesting, but prior to that, though, he was kind of beating, not the highest level of competition, but I guess he kind of has had some sort of career prior to fighting Bryce Meredith. 3-3 record. I mean, it's not the greatest in the world, but at one point, though, this guy was 3-1, so respect to that. I am picking Bryce Meredith to win the fight. I think he's going to use his wrestling and his ground and pounds like he did in his debut to get the win. As you can see, ground and pounded Stephen Vero, who didn't have the greatest record in the world, into a round 1 stoppage. Bryce Meredith Instagram here. I mean, Pro MMA 1-0. We know that right now. 2 times NCAA D1 national finalist, 3 times All-American, trains with the MMA lab, and I'm assuming that's like some sort of podcast he's got. But yeah, as you can see, he kind of like looks like he's taking his fighting seriously. You know what I mean? That this is what I look at here. I look at the Wikipedia page. 2018 national championship silver medalist, 2016 national championship silver medalist, and then the Big 12 championships. I'm not sure what the Big 12 championships are, but he got a gold medalist in Tulsa, silver medalist in 2017, bronze medalist in 2016. So they're pretty good, man. I think his record was something absolutely insane. Yeah, so his high school record was 123-8, which is pretty ridiculous. But then his university record, I'm not 100% sure kind of what that was. Yes, freestyle record looks to be like 18-15, I think. Something like that. So that's not too bad, I guess, as well. But yeah, Viola, kind of as I was talking about, not a guy that takes the easiest fights in the world. I mean, he debuted against a 4-0 guy, which you can respect. For Fernie Garcia, as I said, I believe he's in the UFC. Mitch Raposo, so he's trying to knock on the door of the UFC. Had 1 loss to a guy that is in the UFC, who beat him on Dana White's Contender Series. Viola, as I said, like, he only posted about this 15 hours ago, so this is a very early late notice fight. I mean, and Viola only fought 2 weeks ago as well, so actually that kind of confirms my opinion that this is early. There's no odds on this one. I'm expecting Bryce Meredith to be the favourite. I'm picking Bryce Meredith to be the favourite as well. Taking the fight on short notice. Hopefully both guys can make weight without any problems, and we'll see. Hopefully Bryce Meredith build up his undefeated record over a relatively experienced guy that has been in there with good levels of competition, Viola. So I'm picking Bryce Meredith here to win by wrestle and probably ground and pound TKO. Alright, this next fight we're going to be looking at is Devon Dixon versus Richie Miranda, and my prediction is, guys, do not put your hard-earned money on this fight. It's really just not worth it. You've got a guy that's 4-0-1, fighting a guy that is 3-0. You really don't know too much about either of these guys. I mean, Devon Dixon did spend his whole career so far in Titan FC, which is a relatively respected underground promotion, but just don't put your money on this fight. You just can't be too confident. So Devon Dixon, man, this guy gets the finish or it's kind of a bust, really. Like, he got a draw with Charlie Decker in his last one where he gassed out, split decision to Brandon Lopez where he kind of gassed out. Like, his pro career so far really has been get the finish in the first round, or he's just going to like, as I said, he's going to gas out. Like, he doesn't have the greatest cardio in the world. It was even kind of shown in his amateur career where he did have a lot of success when 8-2 as an amateur, which is respectable, with I believe all of those winnings coming from finish. So if the Richie Miranda is kind of a finish or no finish sort of guy. Sorry, Devon Dixon, sorry. And Devon Dixon, he's fighting out of Sanford MMA, so you know he's getting good training in there. But yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned for his cardio. Richie Miranda, on the other hand, though, 3-0, also did have a decent amateur career. So we've got two guys with more experience than their records are saying. And Richie Miranda's one loss as a split decision to a guy that was more experienced than him at the time by quite a few fights, actually. So Richie Miranda, though, you guess you could kind of argue he hasn't fought as high of a level of competition in the pro scene, but what he has done is finish those competition in decent fashion, like first round and second round finishes here. He's also I don't actually know who he's training with, but he's training in California at least, and he does have a wrestling background. I did kind of Google this guy, and I'm not 100% sure if this is Richie Miranda, but I'm assuming that this is him. And if it is, he got 18 wins in total, I guess. And as a senior, he wrestled in 29 matches. So I'm assuming that means like 18 wins, 11 losses in total. But as a junior, he did go 8-12 as a wrestler. So he does have a wrestling background. He does have a wrestling background as a senior in, I'm assuming this is in college, yeah, Santa Ana College. So and he got a major in criminal justice. So good for him. But the odds for this one here, you've got Richie Miranda as the -150 favorite to Devon Dixon is +120. I mean, like, I'm kind of leaning Richie Miranda because I do like his background. I like his background in wrestling. I didn't find too much on Devon Dixon's wrestling background, but no doubt he probably does have one. Devon Dixon is training out of Sanford MMA, so you know he's going to have really good training partners to work with there, and he is slightly more experienced in the pro scene and in the amateur scene as well. Do not put money on this fight, is my opinion, guys. Unless you're really confident, leave a comment, but I'm really not too sure. I mean, if Devon Dixon gets the finish, he's going to win the fight. I mean, obviously, but he's going to have to finish it early, or else Richie Miranda will probably take over, trying to get some takedowns as well to gas out Devon Dixon. But yeah, I just can't be confident in either of these guys. I don't really see the fight going to the distance. I don't really see Dixon making it to a decision and comfortably winning. So I feel like if someone's to win a decision, it will be Miranda. I mean, we've got Miranda as the slight favorite, but I feel like Dixon's probably got the better chance to win, but do not quote me on this, guys. I just can't be confident in this fight whatsoever. I'm not going to pretend like I know who's going to win. It's a tough one to call, it really is, but I'm going to be picking Devon Dixon as the underdog. Actually, what did I even just say? I can't remember, but I am picking Devon Dixon as the underdog. Not a lot of confidence. Don't at me on this one. I'm really not too sure. Alright, this next fight we're going to be looking at is the co-main event of the evening. We've got Jimmy Lawson versus Marino Eatman, and I'm going to be picking Jimmy Lawson to win this one, guys. He's fighting out of American Kickboxing Academy, which I can respect. Marino Eatman seems to be affiliated with MMA Masters as well. But one thing that does kind of concern me about this one is Marino Eatman is 36 years old, and he weighed in only 9 months ago at 303 pounds, and now he's taking a fight at 265 pounds at heavyweight, so I just don't know like if he's going to make that weight. And it's not like Jimmy Lawson's like not a big dude. Like, he's about 260 pounds himself, but he's obviously going to make the weight. Marino Eatman, I don't really know if he's planning on showing up at 303 pounds or if he's going to try and lose the weight to make 265. I'm just saying, like, I'm not really trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, I am a little bit concerned. Like, that's a 40 pound weight disparity between the limit of heavyweight and his last weigh-in. So I just don't really know what to think of that. Jimmy Lawson, I mean, he's pretty buff, guy, as you can see. I think he's going to be a lot more in shape, and I do think that, I mean, if the fight makes it to the distance, I think he's probably going to be the one that can make it to the decision, really. But he's got 2 KOs in a row in less than 30 seconds, which is pretty insane. So we probably can be expecting very heavy power coming from the Lawson side. And you can also see there's a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well, which I do respect quite a bit. And seems to be taking his fighting and training very seriously. Like, his whole Instagram is about his fighting, so I can respect that. As for Marino Eatman though, this guy's fought very good levels of competition. He fought Steve Murray, who's 10-0 in Bellator right now. He fought Hugo Kanha, whose name I recognize, but I don't really know why. I think it's because I chose him. No, sorry, he's fighting in one championship. But like he's been fighting good guys. Brett Martin as well just recently fought, or was meant to fight on PFL, but most of his wins have come by disqualification. So it's kind of like a weird situation in that one there. But anyway, the point is, like, Marino Eatman's fought good levels of competition, but it kind of just seems like he's been used as like a stepping stone for up and coming guys. And I feel like it's kind of the same situation with this fight here. Jimmy Lawson, he's got the power on the feet, obviously. I'm going to be picking him to win by KO, but I am actually quite concerned, like genuinely concerned about the 303 pounds, man. Like, is he going to be able to weigh in at 265 pounds? I mean, he only fought 9 months ago, so hopefully he's managing to do that. Or is he just planning on weighing in and overweight? I really am concerned about what the situation there is. But I'm going to be picking Jimmy Lawson to win by KO in that one there. Alright guys, let's get into the main event of the evening. We've got Aaron McKenzie versus Lucas Clay. And to be honest, it's actually a pretty tough fight to predict, man. So Aaron McKenzie, I think, is actually the more well-rounded fighter. Of his 10 wins, he's got 4 KOs. He's got 4 submission wins and 2 decision wins. Lucas Clay, I mean, of all of his wins, he's got 5 wins and 3 submission wins. But 2 of those submission wins are by some very, like, unorthodox submission win. So it says like here the triangle choke that he beat Brant Moore in, a win that has actually aged quite well. Brant Moore is now like 9-2, so it's a pretty good win. Not really a triangle choke, it was more like a buggy choke, and the same thing happened when he fought Craig Fruth. It was like more of like another like buggy choke, and you kind of read about it in this article here of MMAprospects.com. At 6-1, Lucas Clay already has a signature submission, the Claymore choke, and it's like it's like a buggy choke, but according to him, it's a little bit more different. But he seems to be the only fighter that actually has 2 wins by this buggy choke sort of submission. So I guess good for him. I guess that's pretty cool. If you look at the odds, I mean, Aaron McKenzie is a -135 favorite. Lucas Clay will return +105. Not a fight I will be putting any money on, to be honest. It seems like the odds have kind of gone everywhere. At one point, we had Aaron McKenzie -155, and then he was like -115 for a little bit, and then -125. -150, -180 at one point even. Now like the odds are kind of jumping around everywhere, so it's like a kind of a weird situation to the end right now. In the last couple of days, the odds have been jumping, they've been moving, and the only way you can bet so far, I think, is on this ref website, so REF, so good for them. But my pick is gonna be Aaron McKenzie, but honestly, like, I'm not really gonna disrespect Aaron, but it's going to sound disrespectful. I would actually prefer if Lucas Clay won, just because he's so much younger. And I do actually believe that like Aaron McKenzie, 34 years old, he probably will get into Bellator or the UFC, or Bellator again actually, with a win here. I feel like Lucas Clay will probably get a call up to the Dana White's Contender Series if he gets a win on this one here. I think it's just kind of what it is, because if you look actually at Wikipedia, the LFA Lightweight Championship has like in the past, like Robert Watley, he was the first champion. He signed with the PFL and then vacated. Austin Hubbard vacated when he signed to the UFC. I mean, Harvey Parker's the only one that vacated due to not being signed to a major promotion. Bryce Logan signed to Bellator MMA. Nick Brown signed to Bellator MMA. Like, these guys are vacating the belt without defending, mainly because they're signing to major promotions. So this win actually has like a lot of implications on the line. And I feel like Bellator and UFC, maybe even PFL, are going to be and Eagle FC potentially even, are going to be having their eyes on this fight. And I feel like whoever wins this fight, especially inside the distance, is getting a Dana White's Contender Series call, a Bellator call, or even just a UFC call, PFL call even. Like, I feel like big promotions will be looking at this fight, especially if Lucas Clay wins, just because I think he's a lot younger. But Lucas Clay, of his 8 wins, 5 of them are by decision, 3 of them are by submission. He's yet to find himself a TKO or a KO inside of his career. Most of his wins come by decision. But inside of the amateur, he was winning all by submission, so he's obviously got a good ground game. He's also lost in 9 seconds to William Stark, so I guess not really the best look there. The Trey Ogden loss, not too bad. Trey Ogden recently signed to the UFC, and now he is actually fighting what's his name? The Monkey King, Jordan Levitt, in a couple of weeks actually. So that's good for him. But yeah, like, moving on. Like, I think that Lucas Clay has fought some great levels of competition. He beat Craig Fruth by that buggy choke, I guess, or triangle choke as they have it. JJ Okanovich by 7-1. Jake Kruzowski, who was 5-1 at the time, and now he's fighting Aaron McKenzie for the belt. Aaron McKenzie also on a decent win streak of himself over Brandon Phillips, Joe Ganetti, a former The Ultimate fighter. And this guy here in LFA. So he's also actually had a run in Bellator, and he was the HD MMA champion as well. But he lost to Chris Gonzalez, and that was bye-bye to Aaron McKenzie's Bellator career, unfortunately. Joe Canetti, though, he was fighting on The Ultimate Fighter years ago. Way back in the day, yeah, in 2018, and since then he's gone up and down. You know, he's winning a couple of good fights, so good for him. But no, anyway, I'm getting so sidetracked in this video. I'm really sorry if you guys come to this video just for this breakdown. Trust me, I've done better breakdowns on this video, like the Bryce Meredith fight and the Sarek Shields and Abubakar Adamu fights. But when it comes to this one, man, I'm gonna be picking Aaron McKenzie to win the fight, just because I do think he is more well-rounded. But no disrespect to him, once again, I do think Lucas Clay has probably potentially like the higher ceiling in a way, because I think that he's younger. You know, he could probably work on more things over time. But yeah, Aaron McKenzie, you know, obviously he's taking this fighting very seriously. He had a cancelled fight at LFA 121, I believe it was. Lucas Clay, on the other hand, same sort of situation. All of his Instagrams just about him fighting, all about his sparring as well. He's obviously got a good jiu-jitsu background as well for all of the submissions that he's managed to get. Unfortunately, only 3 in his pro career, but he does have a good like ground game as well. Aaron McKenzie, though, I do just think he's going to be a bit better on the striking. I think Lucas Clay will have a grappling advantage, but Aaron McKenzie, just a little bit more well-rounded. I'm going to pick in McKenzie to win. I think the fight will go the distance, and we'll get a McKenzie decision, unless Clay can lock up a sub. I mean, potentially we could see that too, but Aaron McKenzie by decision is my prediction for the main event here. It is 5 rounds, so a lot can happen in 5 rounds, man, that's for sure, but I will be picking Aaron McKenzie to win. And as for the amateur fights, I'm just going to be picking the more experienced guys. I don't really know anything about any of these, and it's so hard to find any information on amateur people. So Jorge Apaluguri is my pick, Cheyenne Bowers, and Jelani Olsen. I feel like Cheyenne Bowers is probably knocking on the door of becoming a professional fighter. I mean, she's 27 years old and she's got a 5-1 record, so good for her. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this fight, especially Abubakar Adamu's debut and Bryce Meredith's return as well, and also this fight, which is going to be close, man. And Jimmy Lawson as well. I think he's going to get a great KO. So yeah, that's my picks, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video at least, and stick around. Give me a subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you.